Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, brought to you by our friends at Coolbet Canada, the Listowel Squash Courts, and Larry Hudson's Chevrolet Buick GMC here in beautiful Listowel. I'm Ryan Drury, joined by Clarkey, and we're joined by a great friend of the show, one of the best, he won't say it, but will say it, one of the best mixed curling, half of one of the best mixed curling teams in Ontario, Mr. Shawn Cottrill of Team Cottrill. Shawn, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing very well, my friend. Now, I had to stop myself there because you're one half of Team Cottrill. You're half of it, obviously. Katie, your wife, of course, being the other. Before we dig into all the great curling news going on right now in Canada, the Scotties, the Brier happening right now as we record this, how has your season been? How are things going in the mixed doubles world?
It's been good. I'll start off first, though. I'm not half the team. I think I'm 30% of the team or something like that, and Katie's the other 70%. But
okay,
just throwing that out there.
He's too humble. I told you.
Yeah. So we played quite a bit less this year. So Katie's actually 6 months pregnant. So it was a little bit of a lighter season for us. We played 5 events kind of up until early in the new year. Played really well through the Spiel season, made a final, 2 semifinals in the 5 events we played in, qualified for provincials on points. And then things just didn't really go our way at provincials. Lost 2 games on last rock and ended up just missing the playoffs. But we weren't sure we were even going to play at all this year, just not knowing what Katie's situation would be like, but we're still going strong. We actually just qualified for provincials as well with our 4-person mixed team. So the other half of that team is one of the other top mixed doubles teams in Ontario. So we're off provincials in Woodstock in about a month.
Okay, and that's the Tucks. Give them a shout out.
Yeah, Wayne and Kim Tuck.
There you go.
Yeah.
Unreal. Well, it's our first opportunity on the show to say congrats to you and Katie, obviously. Another one on the way. You're raising the future Olympic champions, I would think, right? That's the goal here.
For sure. I'm hoping this is a girl and we've got the next Cottrill mixed doubles team coming up the pipes.
Perfect.
Either that or Katie and I both have a new partner, one or the other.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
And if things don't turn out with the Tucks, Jenna and I are always available. Do you remember?
Awesome.
I used to play pretty well at one point. Remember?
Yeah, I think one time he did it.
We're not doing that today. We're not doing that today. Clarkey forever stuck in past glory.
That's right.
That's why he's a Maple Leafs fan. Anyway, let's move on and talk about the Scotties because some history was made. I mean, boy, Kerri Einarson's rink was unbelievable. She has tied a record. Obviously, Colleen Jones from 01 through 04 won 4 straight Scotties. That's a record, and she tied it. I mean, you curl at a very competitive level, you and your wife, Shawn. Tell us how unreal that is to be able to pull off a feat, let alone go back to back, to win 4 in a row like that. That is unheard of.
Yeah, it's unbelievably impressive, and not to downplay Colleen's 4 in a row, but the sport was very different 20 years ago than it is now. I mean, she was still miles ahead of all the other teams, but the level has gone through the roof in the last 20 years. To win 2 in a row is unbelievable. To even get to 4 in a row out of her province is unbelievable, but to ever put 4 wins in a row together, and Shannon Burchard on her team has now played in 5 Scotties and won all of them. Like, it's unbelievable. And a lot of people, when that team was put together, it was 4 skips put together on one team, and most people thought it wasn't really going to work. And I mean, clearly it has.
So that's an interesting debate that I have had with people before. Like, I do like the format with all the provincial provinces being represented, but there's a lot of provinces out there with way better teams on the sidelines than we're actually seeing in the Scotties. Do you think that one day we may see a change in the format? I know we have wildcard teams now, but there's just so many teams, like especially Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario. They're loaded with good teams.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some major shifts in how the top level of our sports run in our country. It's not working on the international stage. I don't know if you saw the news that Curling Canada hired David Murdoch as the new high performance director. So multi-Olympic medalist, no ties to Canada. He's in here to make the program work. And in Great Britain, they pick their teams and that's who they fund, and it's one team. And I don't know that we're ever going to get to that extreme, but they're throwing around ideas like leaving the Brier as it is, but the winner of the Brier isn't the team that goes to the World Championships. It's the winner of the Canada Cup, which is a event that has the top 8 teams in the country. I think they'll have a tough time completely getting rid of provincial representation, because at the end of the day, it's the provincial associations that call the shots for Curling Canada, and they all want their provinces to still be represented. But we're going to see changes, and we may see more changes than we've already seen. But.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Like, and you know what? Like, when you put it that way with the Scotties and the Brier to leave it provinces, fine. But the Canada Cup thing's an interesting thing, because then if they're feeding the worlds, like I've always thought when I watch the World Championships or Olympics, that's not the 4 best curlers we have in the country.
No,
it's not. It's just simply not.
It's often the team that got hot at the right time. Now, I think you could argue right now, Kerri Einarson's team may be the best 4 curlers we have in this country.
Yeah.
But normally, it's who gets hot at the right time. And if they went to some sort of Canada Cup qualification system, they would have more time to prepare and all those types of things. There's been talk about the team that wins the Scotties or the Brier gets a spot in the Canada Cup. So you're still getting something out of it. Like just to not totally eliminate the prestige of the Scotties and Brier, but I think we're going to see big changes.
And what happened on the other side on the Ontario team? Holman, or whose team is it now? What are we doing here?
So Tracy's calling the game. Rachel's throwing last rocks. They're still marketing their team as Team Holman. I think that's probably more of a marketing thing than anything. There's a lot of brand attached to Holman and less attached to Fleury. Some big sponsorship,
including our friends at Coolbet.
Yeah,
our friends at Coolbet, of course. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's big sponsorship dollars attached to some of these top teams, and if their sponsor says we want you to still be Team Holman, you're still going to be Team Holman.
Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy for sure. And Tracy Fleury, former guest on the show, we're gonna have to get her back on. Maybe she can answer that question for you, Clarkey. Get it right from directly from the source, if you will. It's definitely interesting. But Clarkey, you were kind of asking, what went on with their team at the tournament. Like, what was your overall impression, Shawn, of kind of how they played and whether that dynamic seemed to work initially? Because we were just talking about, people doubting the Einarson rink and 4 skips making up that team. You kind of have somewhat of a similar dynamic in a sense with, Tracy obviously skipping a team of her own for many, many years. Did you feel like that dynamic maybe kind of didn't work out in this initial look?
I would say right now it doesn't look great. I think they haven't figured it out yet. I think everybody on the team needs to make some adjustments. In fairness, Rachel's done nothing but skip for 20 plus years of curling, and it looks like she's still trying to skip, even though she's not the one in the house holding the broom. And I think once they all kind of figure out what their role is and where they fit, I think there's a ton of talent there. A ton of talent right from top to bottom. But yeah, I mean, you've brought in a new person, one new player to a group that's been together for a few years anyway, Rachel and Emma for 20 plus years, and everyone's playing a new position, and there's going to be a learning curve. I think there's potential there. It didn't look great at the Scotties this year, I'll be totally honest, though. And we went and watched them in Port Elgin at the Scotties, and it didn't look great there either. I wouldn't have been shocked if one of the other Ontario teams had pulled out that win.
We talk about Kerri Einarson and her great feat of 4 in a row. But there again, at the end, was Jennifer Jones. She just keeps on going, eh? She hasn't pulled out a victory in a few years, but she just is there year after year. It's really remarkable.
It really is. I still think she throws it as well as anybody out there. She seems to almost be rejuvenated with this young team in front of her too. Was starting to look a little stale, I thought, the last couple of years. Kind of looked like I'm kind of at the tail end of my career, and then brought in this team fresh out of junior, and she looks like she's having so much fun on the ice again, and it's kind of fun to watch. I'm envious of her ability to continue at the level she's at her age. So
Yeah, it's really incredible when you talk about somebody like her, where it's one thing to achieve success, win a couple tournaments, maybe go to some Olympics, world championships, but the sustain for that length of time is incredible. That's why she's an all-time great. There's absolutely no doubt. We shift our focus now to a tournament that's ongoing as we record this on Thursday, March 9th. And that's the Brier, of course, which is being held in London, Ontario this year. And there's one undefeated rink left as we record this, and that's the Dunstone rink out of Manitoba in Pool A. Pool B, obviously lots of interesting things going on there. I guess we'll start with the Dunstone rink though, Shawn. What's going so right for them?
They've had a great year. Actually, going into this event, I kind of picked them as my favorite to win the event. I think they just have the right balance of experience and youth and excitement, and even the young guys have a ton of experience. Colton Lott is on one of the top mixed doubles teams in the country. Played him many times. Unbelievable shooter. Matt's been to the top 3 at the Brier, I think 3 times in the last 4 years or something like that. BJ at Vice has done everything there is to do, basically, other than go to the Olympics and win a Brier with Mike McEwen. And Ryan Harnden, again, he's been there, done it all, won an Olympic gold medal, just fits in well. Everything just seems to be clicking with that team. And I think this year is always tough to predict because the teams are all new, and it's often the team that gets off to a good start of the season can roll through the season with it. But yeah, I think that may very well be the team to watch for this Olympic cycle in Canada.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. The Dunstone rank there in cruise control right now. Of course, Cooley right there. He's only got 1 loss. Horgan right there as well. He's got 2. You look at Pool B, obviously, Brendan Bottcher's wildcard team having a pretty good tournament, putting together a pretty impressive run here. Just the 1 loss. And then, of course, Gushu, old Goose, he's in there again. Just, not unexpected. He's contending as well, playing tonight as we record this. Who do you like over there? Because, Bottcher is a wildcard team. Pretty darn impressive start, what he's been able to put together with his group.
Yeah, and I think Bottcher is looking like the clear number 1 in that pool. He played extremely well in the Alberta provincials, made it to the final. The final was his only loss, and played a really good game against Kevin Cooey. I mean, probably should have been the Alberta champion. I think sometimes you look at that wild card of, you couldn't win your province, but when you're talking about Kevin Cooey and Brendan Bottcher in the final of the province, you have a really good team losing. And but yeah, I think Bottcher's the favorite in that pool, probably. Gushu has looked okay, but not maybe as strong as they have earlier in the year. Just from an outsider looking in, it kind of looks like Brad's maybe in a little bit of discomfort again. He's had some knee and hip problems over the last few years, and it appears as though he's maybe not sliding as fluidly as he normally does. We were down Monday night to the Brier, and he went kind of MIA halfway through an end for a couple shots to who knows what, but he's not getting any younger either. So, and has played a ton over the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he certainly has.
Go
ahead, Clarkey.
I found it a little hard to watch some of the Brier this year, just because when I seem to tune in, it's Nunavut and Nova Scotia, and I'm not interested in watching them. And I know TSN always tries to get at least every team in a primetime game and really keep it even across the board. But boy, I wish we went back. I think a few years back anyway, they used to stream the other sheets. Like being down there in London, I've never been to a live curling event, so I can't relate. But do you just watch the main game? Because I'm sure on the screen in the video in the arena, they're probably showing TSN. Yeah. But like two parts, TV coverage and in the rink itself. Are you just trying to take it all in?
Yeah, so TV coverage piece, I think part of the problem with the quality of games maybe this year is that there just isn't the depth of the field maybe that we've been used to over the last few years. Like there's some provinces that traditionally have had contenders, like Dunstone out of Saskatchewan and like Jim Cotter out of BC was always a contender. And there's good teams out of those provinces, but they're not contenders to win. So you end up with less of those top caliber games. A couple of years ago, they actually had two full broadcast teams for two different sheets and ran it on two of the different TSN channels. Assuming that didn't make them any money and they didn't keep doing it for very long, and
they have TSN Plus now. And honestly, I don't subscribe, so maybe they are showing them. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they're not. There's no cameras on the other sheets.
Right.
So I think part of it, like, there's a lot of different cameras and camera work and stuff per sheet. And even to stream, they probably are into like some big crews and stuff. But it would certainly be nice to see some of the other games.
Yeah.
As far as watching live, I always struggle when I go to watch live. It's not a great sport to watch live. I'll be totally honest.
And I would agree. Like even playing, you can't see the other house.
No.
Unless you have a monitor.
Yeah,
right?
You're far better off to watch it on TV if really what you want is to watch the game and the shot making. The atmosphere's fun. Like there wasn't a huge crowd Monday night, but I understand they're sold out all weekend, so it'll be rocking. We watched the 2011 Brier final in London, and like we were against the wall in the upper bowl, but it was awesome. Like it was so loud and it was fun. But
there was one game.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little different for sure. Yeah, it's a tough edge to dance on, right? Because I understand, they want to be magnanimous and give everybody air time, and that seems to be the Canadian way. We want to be polite to everybody. We want everybody to be included.
But look where their most viewers are coming from.
I know
that's what they should do.
Right? Yeah, that's the fine line to dance. Like, do they want to turn it into golf? And we'll touch on golf a little later, but do they want to turn it into that where it's just like, well, we're following Tiger and we're missing other shots. Like other guys are making nice shots. Like I actually think in a sense, and I understand why they did it I think even over the last 10 years, the overhype and over attention paid to Tiger held golf back a little bit. So there's the fine line you're dancing on if you're curling here and TSN covering this. Do we want to just show nothing but Gushu and Botcher and Jones and Einarson like all the time, or do we want to give everybody a little bit of a spotlight? It's a tough. And then you mentioned it too, obviously, Shawn. The crews, the money that goes into it. What do we have? Yeah, it's a fine line to dance on.
All about the money. Let's be honest.
For sure.
Of course, it's all about the money.
I think at the end of the day, the Scotties and the Brier, it probably doesn't matter what they do. They get crazy big viewership numbers for the Scotties and Brier. Like it's
for sure.
They talk about it being one of their the Brier final being one of their top 3 viewed events of the year, and like
it always is.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So I have a question, because every year I watch, something's different with the players, with the way they're curling, with whatever. This year I've noticed, and you can help me out here, Shawn, the guys, when they're sweeping for the rock to curl, they're using more of the lengthwise of the broom instead of the widthwise, if that's making sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just someone figured it out one day?
I guess. I don't like
like everyone's doing it.
Yeah. I think it's, if you go back a few years ago to when there was all kinds of controversy about brooms and stuff, that's really like, we'd been using the same equipment for 15 years and nobody had figured out that if you swept on this side of it, it actually made it curl.
Right.
I think part of it is because like the strength of these guys now is unreal, right?
Yeah.
Like Cooley's front end, like they're so strong that I think they actually make a difference. And then everybody else at the club's like, oh, if I turn my broom this way and sweep like this, I can make my skip who can't hit the broom's rock curl. I think, I don't know a whole lot about the science behind it. I think the theory is that you're like creating a like path for the rock to, and by doing it lengthwise, you're like almost creating rumble strips that help the rock slow down. I mean, you're not actually impacting the ice. You're just hot, cold ice kind of thing. But there's still so much unknown about it, but it seems to be working right now and everybody's doing it.
Yeah, everyone is for sure. Yeah.
Look at you, Clarkey. Eye on the game. It's unbelievable.
Well, it sticks out, right? Like when you're watching.
We know you're such a good curler. I'm not surprised that you're breaking this video down for us.
I haven't played in a while.
Get down there. You know, we're only an hour and a half away from Bud Garden.
I would love to go, but it's sold out. Shawn said it's sold out, so I can't get in there.
If Gushu is hurt, like,
they're looking for
get in line.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I can drive a Zamboni. I could do that
for sure.
Get Shawn down there. He could probably vouch for you, get you in the back.
Well, he should be able to vouch for me.
You're on national TV all of a sudden. People are going on Coolbet and betting on Clarkey at what? What would Clarkey be to win the Brier? Plus 100,000?
Come on,
something like that. Yeah,
plus 100,000's generous to you, brother. You know that. We're probably talking more. If we phoned up our friend Jake Bolin Moss and I said, what would Clarkey be to win the Brier? He'd probably say plus 500.
What would Shawn be? What would Shawn be?
Probably plus 100,000.
No. You'd be like plus 12,000 or something like that.
Then you got to go to historical references.
No,
to compare us.
We don't. No, we don't. Okay. Shawn was half asleep that night.
Yeah, hey, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Anyway, that was good.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friend Shawn Cottrill, half of Team Cottrill, the
who's going to win the Brier
curling team. Yeah, who's winning? You like Dunstone to take it?
I think so. I think Botcher Dunstone final. That's my prediction. Botcher, I think, has advantage probably in the final, just on experience, but Dunstone seems to have ice in his veins this year. Like nothing seems to be phasing him. So I'd like to see the Dunstone team win, but that'd be my prediction. Botcher Dunstone final with Botcher winning.
There we go.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. You heard it here from our curling expert and our friend on this show, Shawn Cottrill. Shawn, congrats on another young one on the way. Give Katie our best. And as always, we appreciate your insight, my friend. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Clarkey has lined up a new friend of the show to come on and have an interesting discussion. Clarkey's the big squash guy, so we're going to get somebody from the squash world on here, part of a racket manufacturer, to come on and chat about an event that went down here at the Listowel Squash Court. Our great friends of the show here on Instigating. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Ryan Drury back here with Chris Clark. Thanks to our friend Shawn Cottrill of Team Cottrill for going over all the curling news in Canada. We'll see if his prediction of a Dunstone Botcher final at the Brier holds up. But if anybody knows, it's going to be our friend Shawn. We've got another great guest on, like I teased at the end of the last little break there. We've got our friend Rob Cooley, the sales and marketing manager for Black Knight Squash and Racquet. Rob, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm great, guys. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Chris. Good to be on.
Hey, we had some fun last night, didn't we? We were at the Listowel Squash Courts last night. You held a little tournament, a handicap tournament. It was kind of a little different, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of players got to check out some new rackets that you have. How many rackets did you have there last night? Do you know how many you had?
I think there were 14 or 15.
Okay. Yeah. And like for all different, and it was great, Ryan, because everyone had a chance to say, hey, how's this one going to affect my game? And is this for power? Is this for control? But how many guys were in the tournament?
I think there were, the similar number. So 14 guys, 14 rackets. And yeah, the idea was to have a type of demo night where we call it a night to remember, kind of a play on words with Black Knight.
Yeah.
And get guys out just having a good time, demoing squash rackets and getting the different feel experience of like a lighter racket, a heavier racket, more control, more power. So it seems like you were gravitating towards 2 right off the bat. And that was great. Just a great group of guys there. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good. Do you do that a lot? Do you go to other courts and do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we've got one next week at the Guelph YMCA, and the week after that we're in Toronto at the RCYC. So nice. So I do about one a week.
Okay, that's good. And there was 14 people in this tournament, and it was like a handicap tournament, Ryan. So that means that the guys in our ladder who were ranked high had a handicap going in. So for instance, I played a guy who was down lower in the ladder. He started with 11 points. We played up to 21. He started with 11 points and I started with 1. So right off the hop, I'm down 10, right? So it was a good way to have really competitive games all night long. It was a great way to do it. We've never seen that in Listowel squash courts, having a handicap tournament like that. Is that how you do them all, Rob?
It depends. So I'll talk to the organizer. In this case, Alan at the Listowel squash courts has just been fantastic, and he left it kind of open to the format. Sometimes we just do a round robin. Sometimes we'll do a straight up tournament with no handicap. But he thought the handicap would kind of even it out. So even if you have a high B player playing a low D player, it kind of evens it out and it makes it for a competitive match, regardless of skill level.
And Ryan, the winner went home with a Black Knight hoodie, and the winner is wearing it right now. Rob, go ahead. Tell them who won.
Yeah. So did the trophy fit in your truck, Chris? Or
yeah, it did.
Okay, good.
Had to put it in the back. Right, it's true. Right, it's true.
Now I'm starting to understand how this all came together here. Okay,
hold on. With all due respect, Ryan, with all due respect, Rob, I asked you to come on well before the final, didn't I?
You did. I think you asked me in the semis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were pretty confident at that point that,
How much did Clarkey pay you to do this?
Come on. Come on, I won. Can you admit it? That I won?
So two of them, well, I didn't see it. So you tried 2 of these rackets out, and clearly one of them helped you out a lot because
no. So
you
both
never
of them
win
did.
the ladder.
And Rob laughed because both of them were helping me out a lot. And one I was like, I fell in love with right away. I used it for the first couple of games, but then I lost the game and I went down. It was a double elimination, right? So I went down to the loser's bracket, and I thought, well, maybe there's something better. So yeah, I tried this other one and it was like lights out. And I actually switched halfway through a game from the Oblivion to the, help me out,
the quartz. The ion quartz. Yeah.
The ion
green
quartz.
one.
And all of a sudden, boom, everything turned around and I was firing on all cylinders, Ryan. I was playing well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, congratulations.
Right, Rob? Right?
Yeah, you were tenacious out there. So Chris actually did lose a match.
I did.
We won't, but
that was the one I started 11-1 down. I did lose
that's
that
right.
one.
Yeah. I think that was against Ryan? I think it was.
Yeah, another guy. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah, another Ryan. So that was great. Yeah, the double elimination is a great format as well. You were huffing and puffing after, because I think you played almost 3 consecutive matches at the end there.
I huff and puff a lot. I'm 56 years old.
Yeah, that was awesome.
No, it was good.
Yeah, you're dancing out there, Clarkey. Good for you. I know
I can't walk today, by the way. I got to go for some physio, but
that's a tough one. You're going to play hockey tonight, so that's a really good idea.
You know what? I can skate. I just can't walk.
Yeah. There you go. Well, you're going to play goalie. You are one bad VH push off the post away from a bad hip, brother. You got to slow her down.
I have a bad hip too. It's fine. It's all good.
Rob,
but you know what else? You know what else? Hold on. Before we go there, Rob brought a radar gun, so we see who could hit the ball the most.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it was. But
fastest
you know
shot competition.
I pulled a muscle in my rib when I was doing that. And I woke up this morning and I was like, oh my God, I'm getting old. Oh yeah. I'm walking wounded. But hey, I didn't win that, Ryan. I didn't win that. Who
No,
won that? I can't remember.
I wouldn't have bet that you won.
I'm not sure actually.
Yeah,
but
it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun too.
It was good.
There you go. Rob, I want to ask you, just for people who maybe aren't familiar with you guys and what Black Knight does, tell everybody a little bit about the company. And I know you guys are involved in other racket sports as well, correct? Tell us a little bit about the company.
Yeah, so Black Knight's an iconic racket sports brand. So we do squash, badminton, and, we're getting into pickleball as well.
Nice.
But squash is the one that I think we're the most passionate about ever since the acquisition. So Black Knight's been around since I think 1976, so a few years. And through COVID, they ran into tough times. And the parent company that I work for, Candlewide Sports, acquired Black Knight. You met the owner last night, Sean Fuller, who's a great guy and avid squash player.
And the owner of the Guelph Royals.
Correct.
Ah,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So we're getting into squash. We're kind of relaunching the brand under new ownership, and next season's going to be, I think, even more exciting. We're doing a lot of new racket redesigns, coming out with new technology that you were testing out yesterday, Chris, and we're doing that with badminton and pickleball as well. But we're kind of focusing on the squash for this upcoming season.
So how do you do that?
So we work with the factories and bring in consultants that help us redesign the rackets and work on the engineering aspect of it. And we kind of just we go one racket at a time. We get set samples and we go and test it out on court. I myself, I play a I would say a medium A level game. So.
Which is pretty good. Like I watched you play there when we had our break and eating pizza and wings during the match. Yeah, you were hitting the ball pretty well. So yeah, don't be shy about your ability.
I had pants on, so it's not the best playing with pants on. I should have brought some shorts, but
yeah. So how often do you play?
Probably 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, and like, are you like on a competitive level in the provincial level? Like how high have you gone?
I used to be, I think 15 in Ontario, something like that.
Nice.
Never top, but up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a 55 and over league I could join?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, they had the Ontario, they call it the Masters. That's kind of a nice way of saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
so you're a master.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a master. Ryan, I'm a master.
Okay. Yeah. Take it easy over there, Yoda. We'll just pump the brakes. Rob, I want to ask you finally as well. Just, you mentioned you're going around to a number of different clubs. You're doing these demonstrations. You were at, with our great friend Alan over here at the Listowel Squash Court. Visit them on Facebook, remember? If there was a club owner watching this or somebody who's part of a club that would maybe want you to come to theirs and do a demonstration like this, how could they maybe get in contact with you guys to make that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. We would love for people to reach out. And actually, that's exactly what Alan at Listowel did, was he reached out through our website, which is Play BK. That's B as in Bob, K as in kite.com, playbk.com. And then just send us a message through there and say you'd be interested in a night to remember, and we'd set it up, no problem.
Awesome, man. That's fantastic. Well, thanks for taking care of my guy Clarkey here, making him feel real good.
The end of the story too, Ryan, is the racket I fall in love with is out of stock. So I begged Rob. I said, "Can I just buy this one, the demo?" And I did. So
congratulations,
cash deal, yeah.
Cash deal, as it should. Well, Clarkey's
can't say that. Sean will get mad.
Oh no,
no, it's all good.
Clarkey's a man of affluence. Okay,
I do, don't I? It's perfect.
Yeah, it fits you well.
I'm gonna get my daughter. She does that. What is it? Cricket. Put champion on the back of it, so we're good.
Oh my god. Okay, that's
Jenna can do that for us. She know that.
Yes, she can. Jenna can.
I am pretty humble.
And Rob Cooley can help you improve your squash game and do a night to remember, go to playbk.com and reach out to Black Knight. Rob would love to come to your club and do a demonstration and help out guys like Clarkey, who apparently don't need it because he's got a winner's sweater on.
I always need help.
To you. Thanks so much for doing this, Rob. We really appreciate this, my friend.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, when we come back, lots to talk about, including, we haven't talked about hoops for a while, but there was a spicy post-game press conference with Fred Van Vleet the other night. We will talk about that following the Denver game, where he had some pretty pointed comments for the referees, and we'll talk about the Players' Championship. I'm very excited about that coming up this weekend. That's next here on Instigating. Back to wrap things up this week on Instigating. Ryan Drury back here with Chris Clark. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Clarkey's going to be okay. He's recovering. He's recovering over there.
I'm sore. I got plantar fasciitis in the foot. I got to go for physio, and I got a little cold, and it's let's just call it a cold.
Yeah, we'll call it a cold, and that was expert level mic muting by you just there.
Well, that no one saw that. It wasn't on. It wasn't on TV,
but I had to sneeze,
and I muted.
Appreciate it
right in time, but no one saw it.
I appreciate your skills, man. You were right there.
I was.
I really appreciate that level of professionalism. Speaking of levels of professionalism,
yes,
apparently Fred Van Vleet of the Toronto Raptors, and we got to have our buddy Jonesy on soon, Paul Jones, Raptors analyst. We got to have him back on soon to talk some hoops here, because the Raptors are in the thick of things. They're trying to get into this play-in. It's been a disappointing season. Pirtle's helped. Of course, Pirtle's helped. He's a quality player, but they're up and down. Well, the other night, Scotty Barnes gets tossed out of the game because of a hero referee. And then the other night in Denver, which the Raptors lost by 8. And again, they keep getting killed by their offense late in games. They just can't keep
too hot
scoring
and cold,
up.
Right? They're just
it's way too off. Their defense much better lately. You know what's crazy? I read before we dig into Fred Van Vleet's comments about the refs in Denver, because he had some spicy takes, and he's getting fined. Might even get suspended. You never know. Depends on what old Silver Fox over there thinks. He had some pointed comments. Before we dig into that, the Raptors are literally, you could not be more middle of the pack. They're 15th in offense. They're 15th in defense. Like it's, you cannot be more bang average than that. And we know that there's guys on this team that are above average players, like Fred, like Pascal, who's had a really nice turnaround the last couple of years. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
But they're lacking depth. I think there's some guys that don't want to be there, quite frankly. I think Fred might be one of those guys if you caught him in a candid moment. We heard all the noise about OG Anunoby, but that all said, they are still trying to compete out there and get into at least the play-in, which I think they are capable of. They've played well since the deadline. Well, one thing that might hold them back, and I mean, referees, we talk about them all the time. We love to pick on the referees. Well, Fred might have a point, because the other night they were not very good, and producer Adam's got the clip queued up here. This is what Fred Van Vleet had to say post-game in Denver.
I mean, I don't mind. I'll take a fine. I don't really care. I thought, Ben Taylor was terrible tonight. I thought that on most nights, a couple of the, out of the 3, there's 1 or 2 that just the game up, and it's been like that a couple games in a row. Denver was tough, obviously. You come out tonight, you're competing pretty hard. The third quarter, I get a tech, changes the whole dynamic of the game, changes the whole flow of the game. And, most of the refs are trying hard. I like a lot of the refs are trying hard. They're pretty fair. They communicate well. And then you got the other ones who just want to be and just kind of the game up. Nobody's coming to see that shit. They come to see the players. And I think we're losing a little bit of the fabric of what the NBA is and was. And it's been disappointing this season. You can look up most of my texts this year have been with Ben Taylor officiating. So at a certain point as a player, you feel it's personal. And it's never a good place to be. That's not why we lost tonight. We got outplayed. But it definitely makes it tougher to overcome.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Fred,
I don't think I've ever heard a player go off like that on a ref so blatantly and call them by name.
Yeah, it's definitely happened before. I mean, I'm struggling to recall who was the guy in the NHL a couple years ago. I feel like I don't want to say the ref's name just in case, but remember Alex Burrows when he was with Vancouver? He had that whole fiasco where he said that the ref was out to get him and told him before the game, like, I'm calling a penalty. I'm looking for you tonight. There was that whole fiasco with Alex Burrows. Marty Brodeur had a run-in with a couple officials over the years.
Why don't you want to call the ref out on that?
Because I don't want to say the wrong ref. I'm
pretty sure it was Tim Peel, wasn't it?
It wasn't Tim Peel.
Well, he got
Alex
fired
Burrows.
for something.
That was because he got caught on the hot mic saying we wanted to call Nashville for this penalty. No,
okay.
It wasn't Tim Peel. I'm 80% confident that I remember the ref that was part of the Alex Burrows thing, but I don't want to say who I am confident it was. I don't want to crap all over a guy and it not be him, but there was that whole thing. You're right, though. It's rare that you see a guy, especially a guy like Fred, who's like kind of on the quieter side. And even then when he's hot, he's kind of like very monotone and reserved. He's just a chill dude. Very rare to hear him do anything like that. My favorite part about the whole clip, though, is the very beginning of it where he goes, you know what? I'll take a fine. Like, you got to have some kind of swagger to just start a comment with like, yeah, I'm going to get fined for this, but I don't care.
And it was Stefan Auger. Stefan Auger.
That's who I thought it was.
Is that how you say it? I just Googled it. So
Auger, yeah.
Auger.
That's not.
There
that's
you go. 100%. 100%.
It's 100% who that was. Yeah, Alex Burrows famously said he had it out for him.
Yeah,
I agree with what Fred said, though. I thought Ben, he was not good.
He says what fans think all the time.
And you know what? It seems, and when we get our buddy Jonesy back on the show, we'll ask him this. It seems to be more pointed in the NBA because they are very much in control of the stop-start of the game, and you can really disrupt the flow of a basketball game when you get a guy that, the perception is, and again, like it's, we're not attacking these guys personally.
No.
When you're in the public spotlight and you have so much control over a live sporting event like that, you're going to get criticism. We're not attacking them personally, but I think that Fred made some.
He was attacking him personally.
He got after him pretty hard. He said his name 3 or 4 times and said that he feels that he has a personal vendetta against him, against Fred.
Absolutely.
And
maybe he does.
And
human
that's
nature,
the thing.
Ryan. It's human nature, right? It's human nature when someone's beaking at you and like always complaining. It's human nature just to say, screw you. I'm going to just call stuff on you. I don't care. Right.
What do you think he'll get fined? 25, 50 G's?
I think it'll be the maximum allowed. Like whatever.
I don't know what that is in the NBA.
I don't either.
I think it might be something like 50 because Dan Quinn just got fined. David Quinn just got fined in the NHL.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but
he got 25.
Can they suspend a guy for that?
I
don't know.
I don't think so. I don't know the liner notes of the CBA inside out, but I
disparaging comments about the league or its officials. Can you get suspended? I don't know.
I think you probably can. I would imagine that if you're going to get a fine first.
If you can, he will.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like Adam Silver, old Silver Fox over there, he has quite a bit of power.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it's like a lot of sports where you're going to get a fine first. To my knowledge, I can't recall Fred being fined for anything in recent memory anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well.
You're probably looking fine first, and then maybe if you did something similar, you get suspended.
Let me ask you this. Let's fast forward. Okay. Let's go to the next time this guy refs one of their games. Now what? Like he could be ejected after one comment. Like it's going to be interesting when he refs the next Raptor game.
But that's what I don't like. And I know I have appreciation for what you said. It is human nature. When guys are screaming at you or getting involved and say that call, come on, whatever. of course, it's a natural human emotion to get defensive and go, look, I think I'm doing a great job. Screw you, Fred. But as the referee, the match official, you have got to have the highest level and standard of patience and control over those base human emotions of anybody in the building. The players are competing. You are not. You are not competing. So the expectation, at least from a fan's perspective, and I would think the league's perspective, is you have to be in control beyond a doubt more than anybody else. Yes, your discretion is there, but you can't just have one thing happen and then throw a guy out. And I guarantee you the next time that guy does officiate a Raptors game, everybody will be tuned in waiting for the moment. And Nick Nurse will
I
be
hope
too.
it's a home game.
Oh my God, it would be
just think
chaos.
of it could be chaos. Yeah, it could be
absolute
fun.
chaos.
Could be fun to watch. Might make me watch the first Raptor game of the year. Who knows?
They've not been fun.
No,
I'll say this. You bring up the entanglement that you can have with referees. Your boy Michael Bunting, he's kind of the subject of that now. He seems to be public enemy number one in NHL referee books right now. Like that dude, he's not getting any calls.
But he still leads the league. He still leads the league in the amount of calls against him.
I know, but recently that trend has ticked way down.
It has, and the half of it is he's now
refs are starting
last game he played on the fourth line, so that has something to do with it too. He's not on the ice as much.
Oh.
It's true.
Yeah.
He's got to stay out of the penalty box himself. That's the biggest problem, I think, that Sheldon Keefe has.
Getting frustrated.
Michael Bunting. He's frustrated and he's taking penalties. So, but gutsy win by the boys against New Jersey after the bounce back from Vancouver. So it was a good road trip. That they won a couple games and now they're back home.
Do you think that Vancouver game was the worst game they played all season? Because I do. I thought it was the worst. I thought they were.
I don't know
if it was
terrible. The worst. They played some awful games early in the year in Anaheim and a whole bunch of other places and Phoenix and everywhere else. My
thing. Why I say it's the worst is because you can forgive that in October. This is a team that just loaded up and made a bunch of deals to apparently make the team better and deeper, and that'll all play out.
Yeah.
I mean, one game doesn't change that. Well, I mean,
I'm just saying every team loses some games.
No, I know.
Every
team loses games.
Hey, I'm up and down like a roller coaster, like every game, right?
What's
every
up
game.
with Austin Matthews, though? What's up with Austin
Matthews?
That's
a great question. It's a great question. He scored a nice goal against New Jersey. Hopefully, I think he's hurt. I just think he's hurting. I don't know. I'm hoping.
Can we just make that excuse for him every single time that he hits one of these skids? Like Ovi didn't.
I agree with you. He's not playing as well as he did last year. Not even close.
That's my concern with him. Right? Is like I still think that
I don't care if he wins the cup.
I still think that he. No, I know. I still think he is the best pure goal scorer right now. All things considered and healthy. Now people are going to sneer at their screen. Bruins fans are going to be saying, well, Pasternak, even Ovi's ahead of him. McDavid is destroying the league by himself. It's ridiculous. But he has proven, 60 goals, and McDavid's going to do that too, that he is the prime guy. Right now, most people would say, he's the reigning Hart guy, reigning Rocket. My concern with him coming anywhere near, and he hasn't reached it yet. He just hasn't. My concern with him coming anywhere near this guy's level is his health. Like he's had a lot of injuries already. Got injured in his rookie season. Probably would have scored.
He leads all forwards in block shots right now. He got hit in the knee there the other day in Vancouver.
Yes, and there's something to be said. There's something to be said for how well he's playing defensively.
Yeah, his controller's not disconnecting very often.
No, well, I mean, he hasn't won as much as the guy that you're ripping on either. But I will say, and he's not as good a player, but I will say that there is something to be said for that. Yeah. I think he can win a Selke someday. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. He might win. He might be nominated this year.
Yeah, he could be. He could be. I think Bergeron's going to win it again, but nominated. Nominated is absolutely in the Heischer will be there too. The guy that they just beat. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. But yeah, I think overall, O'Reilly, geez, what is with the Leafs with the big acquisition they get?
He'll be back.
Foligno last
he'll be
year.
Back.
Yeah, he'll be back. Like
he'll be back, and
to
it's not
5
his
weeks.
back; it's a finger. He'll be back. He'll be fine. He's still skating. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. It's just rotten luck.
It is rotten luck.
A couple
You're
years
absolutely
of
right.
rotten luck.
He gets a
You bring in
slap
this
shot in
big
the finger.
guy.
It's
rotten.
Shot in the finger. It is. It is
rotten
100%
for sure.
rotten. Yeah, but no, Sammy played well against the Devils. Really kept them in the first period, and then did they just turn it around in the second and third? They turned the game around. They were down like 15-4 shots in the first, and by the time the second had ended, I think they were leading, if not tied in shots. So they turned it around. They played well, and they battled back twice in that third period from deficit. So I like the effort.
You know who could probably be in that Selke conversation too, and I think he could win it someday too? The best player on your team this year, Mitchell Fancy Pants Marner. William Nylander will never win the Selke. He'll never even be nominated.
That was a joke.
Okay,
I know
good.
He won't. It was an absolute
Mitch Marner, though.
Yes, kills penalty, does it all. He does it all,
and
Mr. Fancy Pants. Yep.
And yes, he does.
Gives the puck away as
Beautiful
much
goals.
as he passes it. It's good.
No, he doesn't actually. Look at the numbers. I want to say this to you. He's the best player on your team. And I think that I'm trying to recall the last time a winger, because the Selke really has become like a centerman's award. I know Jiri Lehtinen won a couple. I think Lehtinen might have won back-to-back Selkes as a right winger back in the Dallas days.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of the last winger, because the last few years you look, O'Reilly won one, Taves, Bergeron 5 times. That's a record. Datsuk. Yeah, I'm trying. Lehtinen might have been the last winger to do it, and Mitchy Fancy Pants could absolutely do it. He's the best right winger in the league.
Yeah,
he is. Give him that, Clarkey.
Yeah, the last 4: Bergeron, Barkov, Couturier, and O'Reilly.
I forgot about Barkov and Couturier. Yes, and then it was a lot of Bergeron, Taves.
Yeah.
Guys like Datsuk back in the day. I think he could do it, but Matthews could too someday. Like, he is legitimately good. I worry so much about the guy's health, and he is your engine. He's your big cat, and I want him to be healthy for you, because you're going to need that guy. We could talk about depth and all that in the playoffs. You gotta have your big boys carrying the load. I
agree. If they win, I don't care how many goals he scores in the regular season. Let's just win.
You shouldn't
win, right?
You shouldn't. The regular season's fun.
I like how they're looking.
All that.
I like how this team is geared up, like lineup wise for the playoffs.
They are
very deep.
I like that Lafferty kid.
He's speedy.
I like him.
Yep.
He's not afraid. He's got no fear out there. The Leafs need as many of those guys they can get that want to go to the net and take some punishment. They need those guys.
And Achari. I like both of those guys.
The Cookie Monster. He is he's the man out there.
He's the man.
He's the man. He's got some grit. I like the dude. He's got a bit of sandpaper to him. Nothing wrong with that. Speaking of sand and paper, making strokes.
Wow.
No bunkers for my picks this week. Players Championship, one of my favorite golf tournaments, if not maybe my favorite. I love the Players Championship, and I love TPC Sawgrass, one of the funnest golf courses. Iconic 17, all the great holes there, all the Tiger moments. I love TPC Sawgrass. We're going to make picks, and we are going to go with a 3-pack. Now, we're recording this Thursday. It's after round 1, but it's round 1. We're not going to take Rory or Rahm.
You're making up the rules here as we go.
Everybody takes Rory and Rahm.
Fine. No problem.
Okay, so we're not going to take Rahm. We're not going to take Rory. And because of that, because I know you're a Rory guy, you want to take him, I'm going to let you have the first pick. So we're going to take 3 picks, and then we're going to take a 4th kind of dark horse, if you will, maybe a more off-the-board pick.
Okay.
Clarkey, you can have the first pick.
Okay, just because I have a feeling who my second pick will be, because I have a feeling who your first pick will be, I'm going to take the Canadian, Taylor Pendrith. Number one. He's had a very good first round, and I'm just thinking it could be a Canadian at the top of the money board and winning this tournament on Sunday.
tied for third right now at 5 under. Interesting. You make your bets with Coolbet, our friends at Coolbet, our title sponsor. They have a great special on there right now for Pendrith, Connors, and Hadwin, I think, to all make the cut. And they've got another future on Pendrith finishing top 10 with some great odds on it. So if you're feeling confident in that pick, Clarkey, you should jump on Coolbet and lay a tenner down. You could walk away feeling pretty good about yourself. You'll be a squash champion and a Coolbet betting champion. How about that?
That'd be awesome.
Then you can take me out for a nice steak dinner. How about that?
I will. Yeah.
All right. So you're going to go with Pendrith. I got to go with my guy. He's my favorite golfer right now. I really, really love this guy. And it's not just because he happens to be second right now on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I knew it.
You know this. Yep. You know this.
Yep.
I love Colin Morikawa.
Yep. And that's who I thought you were going to pick, and that's fine.
I love him.
That's fine because I'm ready with Scottie Scheffler.
Oh my God, Mr. Texas himself,
Scott Scheffler. I've been watching that
Full Swing.
Full Swing. Scottie Scheffler was featured in one of them. Good guy.
He came off looking really, really good.
Yeah, I like him. He's -4 after day one. So I think
a lot of people
Scheffler.
I think a lot of people that didn't know a lot about him, and I mean, who's been hotter over the last year and a bit than Scottie Scheffler. Yeah. I think he probably gained a lot of fans out of that show. He came off looking really, really great. Okay, my second pick. So you have Pendrith and Scheffler. I've already got Morikawa. I am going to take another guy that I love to watch slash it around, Victor Hovland.
Okay, Victor Hovland. Very good.
I love Vicky Hov. He is fun to watch.
Yeah. Now, we're at the third pick. Are we picking two and then...
You're picking a third guy, and then we're gonna pick a dark horse. Then we're gonna
pick a dark horse. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go, and you know what? It's probably because I've been watching a lot of Full Swing.
Yes,
Jordan Spieth as my third pick.
I like that a lot. I was gonna take him.
There you go.
I was going to take him. So good on you to take him. He's starting to turn around. I think all golf fans want to see that. He's a likable dude. He's starting to play a little better. He is absolutely in the mix, and he loves Sawgrass. How about that? Yeah. I'm going to take a guy that also featured heavily in Full Swing, who I think is a really fun up-and-coming golfer and a guy who kind of is leading representation and letting other people of different backgrounds know that they can play golf following in Tiger's footsteps. I'm going to take the youngster, Sahith Theegala.
Oh, Theegala.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a cool kid. Yeah. He seems like a humble dude, great family, and I love watching him play golf. The kid can absolutely slash it.
Yeah. He can really drive well.
Oh, yeah. He's a driver.
Speaking of driving well, this is probably a good time to start talking about driving a truck. At Larry Hudson's, we have our sale on 22s. 22. Wow. We're clearing them out, Sierras and Silverados. Hey, come on down, 1.49% financing. You're not going to get that anywhere nowadays. You know what? The interest rates are going up. And on 22s, a select number 22s, I sold 2 this week. Wayne and Kevin came in, bought a couple of trucks. And also, if you're a Costco member, $750 off. So come on in. There's good deals right now with 1.49% financing on our remaining 22s. If you already have a sales rep, come in and ask for them. If you're looking for one, Clarkey's your guy. I would love to help you out. Okay.
Clarkey's your guy. He is a helpful dude. He's a squash champion. He's a competitor. He will get it done for you. Hudson's has it. Remember, 1000 Wallace Avenue here in beautiful Listowel. Clarkey and the folks over at Larry Hudson's would love to help you cash in on Truck Month.
Exactly.
That's a segue. For all of you broadcasting students out there that are maybe watching this, that was some killer native advertising by Mr. Clark. That was sharp. That's why I laughed. That was some really crisp work. Clarkey, good on the mute mic for the sneeze. Good
there you go.
The ad.
I've been on it. I'm on my game. It started last night.
Clarkey can do it all.
It started in the squash tournament that I won. Did I mention that? And it's just carried on.
Feeling it.
Carried on. Okay, dark horse.
Dark horse pick, Clarkey. Come on.
Okay, dark horse. And whenever I see this name, I think winner.
Yeah.
And it's W. Clark. It's not Wendell. It's Wyndham. Wyndham Clark. W.
Wyndham.
Clark. Hey, last name of Clark. I got to go with Wyndham. Wyndham Clark. No E on his, but that's fine. But Clarkey.
Wyndham Clark.
Clarkey's my guy. Wyndham Clark. I'll be watching him this weekend, walking down 18 on Sunday.
I like that a lot here. I'm going to take and Clark, that's a great dark horse pick. I'm going to take a dark horse, a guy who I wish wasn't a dark horse because he was the first golfer that I really kind of fell in love with and really identified with. He has not been the same guy over the last number of years outside of a nice win at the Waste Management a couple of years ago.
I know who you're talking about. TF.
I would like.
Is that right?
No.
Oh, it's not that guy. Okay, sorry.
Not TF.
Okay.
I would like to take my guy, Mr. Creamsicle shirt and pants himself, my guy, Rick Fowler.
Oh my goodness. RF.
I love Rick Fowler, baby. The orange creamsicle getup. Ricky Fowler.
He's a well-known golfer, though. I don't know if he really like. He's not a like. You know what I mean? Like Wyndham Clark. Who's ever heard of Wyndham Clark?
Golf fans have heard of Wyndham Clark.
I'll give him to you.
Here's why Ricky is a dark horse. Yeah. I'd like for you over the last 8 years to go back and look at any tournament and try and find him in the top 20. He has struggled, dude, and he's a great personality. I wish and I hope Full Swing use him more in the next season. He briefly appeared offering some commentary, and I think he will be in the booth someday because he is a gregarious dude and I like him. The creamsicle getup. I mean, it's iconic. Yeah, but he has really fallen off. He is a dark horse. Yeah, he's even right now as we record this. Yeah. Give me my guy.
Okay, and we're not doing this Ian Doig money line. We're going
we're doing score.
That's the way you have to do it.
Yes, the money thing.
When Ian comes back on with the Masters picks, we're not doing it anymore. It's score. Score. Not a money
because we're talking about the tournament. I don't care what they made.
I don't either.
What they shot.
That's right. Yeah.
I want what they shot.
Yeah. Yes, hey, sir. We're out of time. We got to go. I got a hockey game. I got to hop in my GMC elevation. I got to get going. Yeah, no, I'll be fine. I'll be fine, man. I'll be fine.
Take care of yourself, all right? And you guys take care of yourself. Make sure you use Coolbet to make your picks for the Players' Championship. Make sure to visit our friends over at the Listowel Squash Courts. If you want to get involved, get active, get on there. It's very easy to become a member and book times online. And remember, Truck Month. You need some new wheels. You want to get behind the wheel of a beautiful truck. Go see my friend Clarkey and the great reps down at our friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC here in beautiful Listowel. You can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 with our friends on Whiteman TV. That's channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. We debut on our YouTube channel every Friday at 9 p.m. You can follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. For myself, Ryan Drury, producer Adam, Mr. Clark. You've been watching Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. We will be back next week.